Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed? All right. All right. And next item is to approve the planning commission minutes of January 27th. Everybody get a chance to take a look at these.
They look pretty doggone good.
Yes,
Nice job, Mary.
nice job.
I can help.
Verbal is spelled correctly.
I noticed she sent me the minutes by email. The email was something like 11:30 p.m.
Insanity.
on Saturday.
I didn't want to have to do it.
Move to, if there's no additions and corrections, move to approve.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. All right, public input, number 4, items not listed on. Anybody wishes to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I don't know anything about the agenda. I just talked to Mary on the phone and she told me to come to the meeting.
No. I said you didn't have to come because we weren't having a public hearing until next meeting. So, you said you wanted to come in case somebody was saying about it, and I said that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and you are?
Kay Bryce,
Okay.
and it's R-E-I-S.
I'm confused. You were Pam.
No, Pam was here last week.
It's okay.
What subject you're here for?
No, I was hoping to get an approval for a carport in our driveway.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And,
The clerk can advise you on how to submit for that.
oh,
Yeah, just submit it in advance of the meeting.
oh, okay, I was just told to come to the meeting.
You have the documentation, the checklist from the form. It's available on the town website if you go to GMF.
There was some question, because it wasn't an actual garage, if they had to still apply. And I
Yes.
advised them to come tonight and ask.
So the forms that you can access them online. One of the on the menu, there's a drop forms, and I believe it's the last one. Well, they updated it, but
But I'd be happy to email it to you if you'd like.
I'm sorry, what?
I said I'd be happy to email it, or you can stop in Thursday
Okay.
and pick it up.
Yeah, I came early because I was hoping to talk to you, but, okay, I did all this research and everything. Well, okay.
You're ready for the next
Basic
one.
4 is 2 things. One, does it meet setbacks? Where are you putting it in relationship to property lines?
Okay.
So you would provide documentation that it is meeting the setbacks. And we know off the top of your head.
Does this mean I have to hire an architect or a surveyor or something? Just,
Not
it's, I mean, it could be moved. It's just a roof with some pillars or whatever. And it sits inside of our fence that goes around our yard that does meet the setbacks and the easements and all that. And it would just sit inside the fence. Our driveway's actually was a separate lot when we moved in and we had the lot line vacated. You could park 6 cars in that driveway. We just want a 1-car carport, just to keep the sun and the hail and the snow off of the vehicle that we have to park there.
So if you could draw a picture, try to get a picture of what it looks like where the fence is, perfect.
I actually have one. I had a guy come out and talk to me about them. I have all the information.
Perfect.
Yeah, the setbacks are probably still, even though it's inside the fence has a 0 setback requirement, so it's on the property line.
Oh.
But then setbacks would still need to be met. I'm presuming this is in the front.
Now, we had a survey done when we had the lot line vacated. Is that acceptable?
That would be
I mean, it's old, but
Nothing has
Nothing's
changed since then. That would be
Yeah.
adequate. Old is good.
no, nothing.
So just bring it.
Yeah, so do you know how big well, if you had a lot line vacated, you're probably above 5,000 at least.
I just didn't know what to do as far as permits or surveys. If I didn't was involved in trying to get this set up.
Yeah, if you had the survey done already, that document, you could use that a copy of it, to show on it where you intend to put it, so that we can approve the plans that you submit.
Okay,
So your front setback, if it's a R1 10,000, 15 feet in the front, 10 feet to the side. So if it's big enough to hold 6 cars, you can probably rather meet the setback requirements. I had nothing to do, and I went through 3 years worth of minutes the other night. And you check with the regional building department to see if there's any, if a building permit is required. One of the items that I did come across involved a carport. And I think part of it depends on how it is secured to the ground.
okay,
So you're saying, like, for instance, if you form a foundation and all that kind of stuff, it probably requires a permit, whereas it's a temporary structure.
Yeah, what holds it down in the event of 30, 40 mile an hour?
the guy told us they're called auger anchors, and they kind of for an RV or something. They, like, you dig a post hole and put those curly cute things down into the ground, and there's 3 on each side.
Yeah, regional, the Pikes Peak Regional Building Department
Okay,
would be able to make a determination if you needed a permit for that. And then that
Okay.
would be in conjunction with the paperwork that Mary would have for you.
okay. So we don't have to go through the procedure like some of our neighbors have, where you have to ask everybody around you if they
Unless
have an
you're getting a
objection.
variance. This is a variance required,
So as long as it's far enough away from the lot lines,
no variance.
no variance.
No public hearing, it's, if you got that, was it 40 to make the agenda? It's not a public hearing.
Right, and that was another part of it, it wasn't in time enough for
Right.
it to be on the agenda for this meeting.
Okay.
So if you come in on Thursday,
A week from this Thursday.
to get your application and get it back to me prior to next Wednesday, then we can get you on the agenda for our next meeting.
Oh, okay.
Should we give her an application tonight?
If she wants to wait till after the meeting.
Okay.
I have to pull it up on the computer.
Oh, good. All right, well, I thought I'd probably be last to talk, so I'll just listen to the rest of you, I guess.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Well, thank you.
I look forward to your submittal.
I hope we answered your questions.
Yes, I think so, and I'm sure regional building will answer more. So I'll see what we have to do.
What's your address, please?
10700 Grandview,
Okay.
on the corner of Grandview and Grandview,
Thank you.
and shoots up right into our house.
10,770.
10700.
10,700?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Does Mr. Stroop want to address the group?
No.
Okay, take care of that.
All right. Old business, Black Bear Distillery variance request.
Sounded like a horse laugh.
Say, say we made the news on this, so.
Yes, you did.
Yes, really?
Yeah.
Sounded in the
It was on-
Posted?
No, I did not post it, it was on the Green Mountain Falls Facebook.
Okay.
That has been, yeah, I think all the papers about it, all three.
Yeah.
And I said, I wasn't kidding when I said it's a big deal. I think you did, said you did some research and discovered that it was. Oh, it's a worldwide type of big deal.
So I guess with regards to what's on the agenda, the variance request, I don't know that a variance is the proper vehicle for getting this approved. In that code specifically prohibits the use of these mules, bananas, llamas.
I'm anxious to hear what Victor's come up with as an alternative, because we beat him down last meeting. So. You have new information to provide us?
Well, what I did this time, I don't know where it was gonna go, you know, advice-wise from you guys. So in case, something that Dick said last time was, a lot of these things require a variance. So I thought, okay, well, let me write one up just in case. So if you do it, if the two things that were mentioned last time, one of which is probably needing a variance, the other one was the welfare of the animals, et cetera. Donkeys are probably the best option. The size of the lot, the location, the makeup of it, the size of the animal, everything about it screams donkeys. We can do other things, but it screams donkeys. So what I did prepare, just in case that was where we were headed, was I went ahead and filled out various forms and did attachments and brought a check if we went that way. But even a copy of the check in everybody's file. But also, I thought maybe the recommendation might be something else, and I might have to hold on to that, or you might need. My research indicates that it's the perfect fit, but I know that it's against the ordinance. So the question becomes, how do you want to proceed? If you want to do some kind of variance, in this folder is a way to work the donkeys out, I think. It involves the town agreeing for me to have the donkeys and then a huge list of my requirements. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and give it to you just to have, even if we don't go that way. But if I've got a, just in case. I mean, like I said, if we wanted to do a variance on a horse and have a single horse, we could do that. If you wanted to do something that wasn't in the ordinance, an animal that wasn't in the ordinance, we could do that. But
So does it have to be an animal? Can it be solar or something like that?
okay, so other options. The main three options, since we're doing something based on, so the branding, the concept, and the uniqueness depends on this sort of ultra green artisan historic source. That historically has been one of three things: wind, water, and animals. And we talked about it briefly last time, but wind and water seem unlikely given the location and the ordinances, and also the state itself. Try to start water in Colorado. The windmill concept Falls has a skyline-ish that we don't want to interrupt with a windmill. But so that leaves us with animals. Could we do solar? Solar would cause, it would be a version of green. However, we're talking about a pretty vastly expensive setup, adding a ton of money to the overhead, so it doesn't really solve the problem, really. But it's doable, but that's the recommendation. But solar didn't really exist a couple of years ago, so the idea is to try to do something we could have done in Ireland or Scotland, 100 years ago or whatever. So that brings us pretty much back to animals. Animals could do it. donkeys are the best. They've been doing it several thousand years. The environment, et cetera, it's ideal for donkeys. Could we use a draft horse? Sure. Could we use other animals? Possibly, you know. But that's what the recommendations for. You know?
So why not miniature horses? Like, maybe not Shetland pony, I'm not sure what else there is that's that small, but something that would be small, the same size as a donkey or smaller, but fit under like a horse, but a smaller horse, not a draft horse, because that's huge. But
That's going in the direction.
right, but there's plenty of
Yeah.
horses out there that are small.
Still, they still has the keeping of the horse.
Right, and I mean, there's that one place down the road where if you could contract with them, it's only like a quarter mile. I think,
You know where, I know that.
where they have the barn falling down.
And, yeah, those poor animals that are out there.
Not that
breathing.
The one that's a little bit closer, it's still on Green Mountain Falls. But the barn's falling
one
down.
where your
there's
babies
that
were.
horse there.
The land where
In the township, but it was, right.
Yeah,
Two horses there.
whose land is that?
I have no idea now. We were renting it from,
In town, near the,
yes,
that's
right on the end.
the Gary's land. They pastured horses in the past.
Yes, and that's where we had our two horses.
Okay.
And as you say, that's not that far, so if that's the recommendation, I can go speak to them and see how, if that can be worked out. So there are options.
yeah, I was just curious.
And I'm not against the idea of horses, like I said, donkeys, I mean, we were talking about small horses, about donkey size, I mean, it's like half a dozen of one and 6 of the other, I mean, it's up to you. One is within variance, a little bit less variable, but you're still gonna need a variance because we don't have the required setback or the required overall land size, even though the pen size is nice. I did measure that myself, went out there, we've got, that plot's about 9,000 square feet, the actual land of the pen would be about 5,500, 6,000 square feet. So that's cool, I mean, we could do that, but that once again is another variance. So if we're going down the variance trail, we might as well head toward donkeys if it's equal. If it's not equal, then whatever you guys wanna do. Like I said, I'm wide open, I just have to have something that makes sense, and hopefully something that can be, you know, a stuffed animal in a gift shop.
So I drive by your place, you know, every day, and, you know, I stopped and looked around to see, you know, where would you put horses or a pen or something? I just couldn't see it. Could you draw us a picture of
This is awesome, who did this?
what you would be looking at?
Yeah, okay.
Is this what?
Okay, it's upside down,
Yeah.
upside down and sideways, sort of. Okay, so,
North is to the north.
right, so this is the parking lot, 10405, okay? And then you notice there's a tree line there. What you probably could drive by is the right side of that tree line is clear, there's just brush in the way. Up the tree, you go up the slope, and it's a pretty gentle slope, it contains underground, there's some pumps and things that go on for septic, but it goes up a hill, and then there's a top that has another equal size area with grass. So what happens is you end up with a fence, there's already fences on part of it, but you go up the fence line on the right, which is about 100 feet, give or take. You come across, which is about 50 to 70 feet, up and around those trees, and come back up. So when you pull up, when you park, there would be a fence line, which would be 15 plus feet from the road, right? And you pull up in a parking space, be a beautiful Kentucky style 4-run fence, big arch, carved wood that explained the donkeys or whatever. You should see the little, here, the hill would be clear to the grass up there. So it's about 5, including grass and slope and dirt. And now the donkeys being hill desert creatures, this is, according to donkey experts, is perfect. Because they like a little hill, they like to have some scrub grass, and like to have some dirt. So it's actually the perfect paddock for donkeys. It's not as perfect for, say, a horse. I have to do a lot more installation, bringing grasses and things in, but it's very, very perfect for donkeys.
So after a certain amount of time, the donkeys are eating all the grass, and it's down in mud, it starts to rain. What happens with all that water, all that waste that's there?
It's interesting. It's not that big of a slope. There's a bunch of trees. I'm going to be feeding them. That's not going to be their primary food source. Their primary food source is going to be a specifically designed diet for donkey health, which is primarily low protein non-alfalfa grass. But I also have variations in the diet. I have, for instance, used grain as well as connections with the farmers for the grains. So I'm able to vary their diet as well. The environment, the diet, and everything is going to be really rescue experts. We really care about the donkey as much a mascot, a family pet as they are a working animal. We're looking at them as something we're going to really care of. It's not going to be like put an animal out there and let it run. We're going to be there every single day. Every day. We're petting the donkeys, we're feeding the donkeys, we're cleaning up every day. And in my packet, one of the requirements is daily maintenance of this thing. So I'm putting a long list of serious requirements that I would agree to that aren't normal. The amount of cleanliness, the amount of work being done, the amount of upkeep, etc. Being held to a very high standard is what we're willing or thinking should happen. We're talking about something that's more of a showpiece than animals sitting in a little lot. It's more of a showpiece.
So I have one more question. Oh, sorry. So can you get a letter from the donkey rescue describing the situation to see if they approve of donkeys being there?
No problem. I can get a donkey rescue, donkey expert, somebody to come and write a letter that says what I just said.
Like the donkey rescue would be.
Yeah, perfect. No worries. Sir.
Victor, we've been friends for a long time,
Yes, sir.
and I don't want to take anything personal. But I'm wearing a different hat here, and I have to think about the town, what's best for your neighbors. And we are all sworn to uphold the Green Mountain Falls ordinance, the code. The code particularly says you cannot have donkeys maintained or harbored within the town limits. But I think the thing you may be overlooking is the location of your 4 neighbors to the south. There are 4 homes to your south that are all within 175 feet of your pen area. That is a very hard part of the ordinance to grant or even consider a variance to. And I'll tell you why. There's some background to this. In 1990, we had a lady in town who had a horse on a very small lot, 80 by 150, above Grandview, and she had a horse. And she moved in there and had the horse for several years. And her neighbor to the north, who was less than 170 feet away, complained vigorously to the town council. That generated, after a neighbor, a friend right next door, the lot that you own, the horse there, that got the whole town upset. And that generated this ordinance, which came up with 170 feet. The problem that the neighbors had was odors, and I'll never forget the lady who lived to the north said, I can't sit on my porch at night, just can't take the smell. So when we wrote the ordinance, we made it 170 feet. It should have been 300, but it should have been at least 170. The problem you've got with your lot is you're less than 170 feet away from 4 families, 4 homes, 4 dwellings. I don't know how you can overcome that.
I,
Okay, go ahead.
this is exactly what I've been considering.
Okay.
And everything you just said is exactly what I hoped and thought would be said. And it's all in here. So the first one is number 7 on the attachment. The first concern was the neighbors that you just mentioned. This number 7 says they not only concede to the mailers and the whole public thing and everything that normally happens, but I'm gonna personally get every single neighbor excited and on my side. If I don't get every single neighbor happy, dancing in the aisles for donkeys, then I give up.
Okay.
So that's one. I'm gonna make sure. I know most of them already. Most of them are excited already, because this is a huge thing for town. It's gonna bring a lot of people, every business is gonna benefit. Everybody's excited. If I got one neighbor that's like, man, I don't know, donkeys, blah, 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 then I'm gonna work on them. I'm gonna make them happy one way or the other. Now, if I can't make, it's a tight arrangement. I totally agree. But I believe that the neighbors that I know that are around here are gonna be very happy. Two, the thing that you mentioned about the problems that were happening with odor, et cetera, is the very first thing that this deals with. And it can be different times, starting in number 2. The pen shall be kept immaculate, with daily and weekly cleaning, generating as close to zero waste, noise, and smells, far beyond the standard norm. In fact, the fresh hay and landscaping of the environment should be considerably better than the current empty state. Now, not only does it say that, but later in this addendum, it says that I consent to any inspections or any requirements you want to set. If you say the town council's bringing a guy there every single month to stand there and smell, I go, okay. I have enough volunteers right now. I have over 20 people on a waiting list to work here because they're so excited. I've got so many people that want to work, clean this thing out all the time. Now keep in mind that that's not just for neighbors, it is. But I love my neighbors. I also am my own neighbor. I have the house behind me, so I'm my own neighbor. I live in the house behind me. I am my own neighbor.
Which house?
The 6855 hotel right behind me, Kelly Staley's place.
Okay.
Okay, that's me too. So I'm my own neighbor. I sit on my own porch. But keep in mind that my goal is for people to go to visit. It's not an animal sitting in a paddock. That's not the point of this. The point is people drive up from Kentucky or from Scotland or Florida. They park, they get out, they're looking at donkeys, they're talking to people. It's beautiful. It's like Disneyland. It's not a dirty donkey paddock. And I will sign whatever has to be signed, and I will employ whoever has to be employed to ensure that. So I totally agree. Because of the tightness, because of the neighbors, because of the centrality in town, this has to be a showpiece. And I will agree with whatever the town writes up. If it says yearly inspection or whatever it is, monthly inspection, if this is not up to par, if it's not exceptional, if it's not immaculate or whatever the wording needs to be, then you're gonna be fined or shut down. I will totally agree. I'm prepared for that, because I want that to be a place that you can feel comfortable that anybody from anywhere can come visit. You understand? So it's not just me throwing a horse in the yard. It's a big deal to me.
Now, one thing, this is the first time I've heard you say that you would approach the vagaries just for pasturing of your animals.
Mhm.
That's an alternative we suggested at the last meeting, that you try to find a place away from the distillery for pasturing, and then bring them only to the distillery just for the time that you're grinding. That would serve the amount of deposits
Mhm.
and probably make your job easier.
The in-depth study which I've undergone for months indicated to me that harboring or any other kind of keeping might anyway. In other words, if I have somebody else and bring them in for several hours, it might still fall into the same problem.
It might, yes.
So then I thought, okay, we're still back to the same square. So also moving them around, this is easier. Now, if I run right down the street, 100 yards away or whatever, then obviously walking the dog through the street is easy. Being several miles away, for instance, would be very cost prohibitive, plus stressful on the animals. The animals are being loaded and unloaded on roads as opposed to being in their home. So
I understand, Snack, it wouldn't be easy. What I'm saying is the law prohibits donkeys in town.
oh, no, I understand.
Your only chance is to go to the board of trustees and ask for a variance. That's your only chance. Now, if you read the ordinance on variances, it doesn't look like you have the requirement to meet the eligibility for a variance.
So I'm gonna chime in on,
Go ahead.
it's the variance requires you to state a physical hardship, and it goes on for the land in which it's zoned, and it's not this.
I can see that this is not fitting into any boxes. It wasn't ever going to.
It's different in the.
You could write an ordinance, that's the best ordinance ever written, but if somebody wants to land a spaceship there in 75 years, there's no way to tell. I mean, this is a totally unique, and that's why I'm willing to do all these additional things that wouldn't be required typically of anybody. Consenting to inspections, anything you want when it comes to cleanliness. I understand that this is a special request and not covered by ordinances, I get it. So I'm consenting to it. It's an extraordinary circumstance, so I'm consenting to extraordinary requirements.
Let me read you part of the 1679 variance. It is the intent of this article that the variance be used only to overcome some exceptional physical condition of a parcel of land located within the neighborhood which poses practical difficulty to its development and prevents its owner from using the property as intended by this land use code. So you're in a business district, so it's possible that it could be looked under that light as opposed to somebody wanting to do something with property, with building a house or something. You are wanting to use your property in a manner that it's in a business district. You want to run a business. Isn't exactly a tavern, but a tavern is one of the specifically permitted uses within the business district. So that may be an avenue to pursue with the variance. I've got a couple questions on the donkeys. I mean, the donkeys are going to power, is it what you call a grid?
Right, so,
Tell me through what that looks like.
okay, you can come to my parking lot, I'll show you, but it's about this big around, the base stone is about this thick, and this big around weighs about 1,000 pounds. The base stone goes onto a cement enclosure, and around it there's a wooden structure that collects the grain. Lowering on the top of that is a top stone. They're all slightly curved on the and concave and convex. There's a hole in it and there's a support. So what happens is it hovers slightly above that. You adjust a bunch of different little things to get the grain. And it doesn't touch. If it touches, that's a problem because it won't move. It's too heavy. So it's kind of levitating. So a person or a water mill or a donkey attached to it walk in a circle for a couple hours and we collect the ground grain. So we get the grain from San Luis Valley, we house malt it, we house dry it, we grind it, and then we put it into the tub and cook it for mash to distill. So that's the process.
How big a footprint is that? So if you put,
I got a lot of pictures of this. But it's really about another foot or so on the side of the 3 foot. So you're talking about a 5, let's say 6 foot. And then you're talking about, another 3-4 feet, depending on the size of the monkey. But it's a circle that would be about 9 or 10 feet, say 10 feet in diameter.
so it easily fit within this room.
Yes, easily. The actual, a lot of them were done inside, in the mills. I have a lot of pictures, ancient pictures of this going on. here, and a donkey would basically go where we are.
On the side of your property, right here in the parking lot currently.
So, yeah, so that would fit there, so that it will come out from the side, and we'll have this, because it's so sturdy, it can be outdoors just with cover. We could do it, in a few hours, we could do it ourselves. It's not a lot of hard donkey work we're talking about, we're not slave driving donkeys.
How many hours a day?
If you do 2 per donkey, you're talking about 2 hours a day per donkey. They need to be 2 donkeys because they're social creatures, they need each other. So you're talking about 4 hours a day, but you wouldn't do it every single day. So say 6 hours 3 times a week, something like that.
Oh, okay, 4 hours a day, how many days a week?
So I would say technically we do 3 days a week at 6 hours a day, 3 hours per donkey, 3 times a week. So 9 hours total work week for a donkey, light workload. Plus moving this thing is not hard. So mainly the donkeys are mascots.
Yeah.
Mainly.
They're part of the
Right, the big stone wheel is crazy, the malting floor is crazy, the donkeys are crazy. There's less than 20 people in the world house malting, nobody has stone grinding, this thing is super rare. So you put all that together, donkeys, stone wheel, house malting, the whole thing, and you have something very unique.
The donkeys complement.
Yeah, there'll be little stuffed donkeys, little blackberries floating in the gift shop. They'll have names like Penelope or Bushmills or whatever. It'll be an attraction. So this whole thing has to be donkeys you can pet, donkeys that are beautiful, that the area is beautiful. There's no piles of poo. This thing has to be perfect. It has to be fresh grass, fresh hay. Kids have to walk up and giggle. You understand? It's not really normal.
Yeah, I mean, I can visualize that. I'm just, the times.
And it's certainly not hard work. I'm not doing this to work the donkeys. The majority is unmalted pre-ground. So we only house malt a portion of the grain, let's say roughly 20% anyway. So not all the grain that goes to the distillation, not even a full quarter of it is even house malted. It's just the malting that we need to get the enzymes working. So this is not the majority of the grain in the first place. So the donkeys are much more pet, family, friend than they are working.
Victor, part of your distillery operation is gonna involve a tasting room, correct?
Yes, sir.
How many people do you think will be in the tasting room at one time?
Yeah. I'm hoping that we probably max out at 20. But you're looking at maybe a dozen. This is one of the main reasons that the first person that called me, who was some kind of town organizer, a couple of years ago when I first started talking about this, was very happy with this plan because it lowers the impact on everything from the restaurant. The restaurant had 50 to 100 people a night. When it comes to septic, when it comes to the use of the oil, the hot fires, everything was happening in the restaurant. All that has dropped through the floor when it comes to environmental impact, when it comes to danger, et cetera. It's all dramatically decreased.
Maximum number of employees on site?
Then we have 3 guys probably working the stills and cookers. You have 1 or 2 host people with tours and tasting. So say half a dozen, say 6.
Okay.
That'd be maximum. They'd probably usually be more like 3.
That gives me 20 customers and 6 employees.
Give or take.
Okay, where are they gonna park?
So the parking spaces, already we have, pretty good amount of parking spaces across the front. But now this line's gonna, and I'll be putting in new blocks. But here's how it works. If you go from pole, where's that little picture?
Right there.
All right. So pole to pole, you see the circles? Those are poles,
Yeah, those are pins.
right?
Okay.
So right there at the same place, there are light poles, okay? There's a hill here, and there's no hill here. This is where that gate is. This sets back a pretty good distance from the road.
How many cars are you gonna have to park?
So,
For 20 people and 6 employees.
yes, so you're talking about some of those are couples and families, so maybe a dozen cars. And I'll have maybe 20 parking places.
Okay, the frontage on your lot is 150 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Averaging 20 feet wide for parking space, that's only room for 7 cars.
20 feet wide parking space.
Don't you usually go 8 to
That's not 20, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
10,
10, that's
that's
15.
14 spaces.
For the driveway.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
My
so.
pencil slipped.
So we'll probably be able to get, like I said, 15, 20 spaces in there, probably be a little dealing with 10, 12 cars.
That may be accurate.
It won't be, it's not gonna be a lot of people, it's gonna be a few tourists here and there. Most of the time, there won't even be a whole lot of people, it'll be production. But on weekends and summers and stuff, you can expect to see some people
10
there.
vehicles, okay. I'm satisfied you have enough parking for 10 vehicles.
But again, I'd like to see a diagram of all your plans. You have, you've told us what you wanna do, you have it in your head. I'm having a hard time.
I have it all on the
Seeing
computer,
where
trying
it
not to blow your mind with dozens of pieces of paper.
So include parking, include,
It's all done
walking
already.
areas,
I've
include.
got all the graphs and drawings already online. I just didn't want to blow your mind with endless array of
That's important.
stuff.
That's important because I'm having a hard time visualizing it. So, the next time you come, please bring that information.
Yeah, I have all of that worked out, so, not a
Yeah, if
problem.
you'd like to email us the information, so we have this in PDF.
If you,
That'd be
man,
great.
if you guys, if you could, please give me your emails.
You can send it
They're
to
all,
Okay,
they're all on town website.
I will send you tonight a variety of illustrations.
No, I'd like to see specifically
I've got it already.
where your building is, where you plan to have parking, where you plan to have the donkeys, where you have the fence, so on and so forth. I'd really like to see that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The only reason I didn't give you that is because I'm trying not to inundate you. Plus, I also didn't know your recommendation. If you said, we're going with donkeys, put it through, or if you said it's not gonna be donkeys, do a horse thing, or you said you're gonna have to push it with your kids, I didn't know what you were gonna say. So I haven't given you a landslide of stuff, but I'll mail you a couple things tonight that'll have all that in it.
I just say you open up a CrossFit and have people pushing it as an exercise.
Oh,
I got a lot of guys volunteering. Hey man, if they turn down your donkeys, we'll just do it an hour apiece for a while.
So-
Okay.
Maybe what would be helpful for us to do is say, what do we need to say?
Well, I mean, there's agreed with that, but there's first things first.
Right.
If you don't get the neighbors to buy off,
I'd like to hear from them.
then, I mean, that appears to be, a significant hurdle.
Yeah.
I mean, without knowing your neighbors.
So
I would like to
I
hear
believe
from them.
if my 4 neighbors agree to having animals in the grist, I will drop the whole idea.
Well,
Well,
Into-
drunk donkey
And
idea.
I'll reroute the creek.
I don't know if any other animals.
yeah.
Horse
Don't do that.
Horse has the same restrictions.
No, I would have to, even if I went with horses, I'll still have to have some of those neighbors agree. I'm gonna be out of that 75-foot requirement for horse variance. So I'm gonna have to have a variance anyway, but I will begin the campaign, the pro-donkey campaign with the neighbors right away. I'm sure that some of them already know and are on board, but I'll just get information, possibly letters from them. I'll also get a letter from donkey folks saying that the plot is awesome, because it is, I know it is, so I'll just get a letter to that effect.
It would strengthen your presentation if they came down here and support.
They wanted to, a bunch of people wanted to, but I said, hold on, we don't just flood in there and have signs and stuff,
I would
yeah.
love to hear.
Everybody's
from
like,
them.
yeah, donkey sign, I said, just wait,
Just
just wait until we need to do the full
Yeah.
campaign.
If you look at the board levels. The procedure is, it has to be heard in the public hearing at the board level.
Yes.
That's when the neighbors come in. This body here, the planning commission, cannot approve variances.
Right.
Only the board can.
This is recommendations, ideas, and practice, right? I'm basically trying to
Rehearsal
get
for the board?
feel.
Rehearsal for the board, is that?
Yeah.
So I think
You're doing
what the
a
planning, I think what the planning commission would like to see, at some point before making a recommendation is, here is my plan.
Yeah.
These are all the items that I believe you're interested in, so that instead of approving the concept, we'd be not approving, but recommending a concept, the recommendation would be
Absolutely.
this plan.
I have all of that, I just been waiting, because I wanted
You
to,
can use this drawing, mark on it if you want.
oh, I've already got them, similar, but yeah, I will, I've already got similar drawings online. I just, like I said, I didn't know exactly what would happen, so I didn't want to inundate you with everything. If you, let me ask you this question, since forward with working all that paperwork up, which is fine. Do you want me to officially submit that so that it's on the books, paid for various requests for donkeys?
It's up to you. You don't submit it to us, you submit it to the Board of Trustees.
Right, so I just wanted to know if you wanted me to do that, so.
You already gave me some, but yeah.
If you know you got your neighbors are confident, then I guess that's.
You wanna hold that until your neighbors,
I'm confident.
you're 100% confident.
Now, if there's somebody that says, I don't, if someone says I'm worried about this, whatever, the smell, I'm like, I'll clean it up every day, you can smell it yourself. If you don't like it, I'll shut it down. I've got an answer. If they say, I just think you're funny looking, I'll say, I'll get here. I'll do all this, whatever.
I'm worried about the noise, you handle the noise.
Yeah, donkeys don't make a whole lot of noise, I'll let you
Oh,
go.
that's
They don't, and if there's some that do, but I will let you go with me to pick donkeys out that are quiet.
So,
I
the dog.
I'm ready.
We could do a planning commission trip.
When it's all over, I would like to apply for the position of variance coordinator for the town. I'll be glad to walk everybody else through the process as we go forward for other people in the future.
3 hours a day.
Honestly,
3 hours a day. What particular hours during the day?
We can set, if that needs to be 7 hours, but if we need to set out something. I don't run donkeys in the middle of the night. I mean, it's daylight hours. You got 2 3-hour shifts 3 times a week probably. Like I said, we're to really get specific on all of that, we have to get set up.
Right.
And we're gonna have to see exactly what needs to happen, but I don't foresee any problem with any of that. It was, like I said, my family's very excited about petting and playing.
So are donkeys susceptible to wild animals?
Donkeys are actually used as defense animals similar to llamas, so they're built in.
So mountain lions, bears are not going to,
They're
because they're
actually,
smaller, right? They're smaller, so they're kind of a treat, for.
if I get mediums, okay, medium to small, but medium is probably where we're heading. The regular sized donkeys, not big ones, but regular sized donkeys. They're employed by people that have sheep and other livestock as defense animals, so they're prepared to defend themselves.
Our yard dog.
Plus, I have a
Dog.
Pierce who takes care of everything. He stopped the bears. He's already fought one of them, so I've already got a guard in place. He's already had one bear fight already. It's pretty awesome. He won. No, they didn't actually hurt each other. But he stood toe to toe with the bear. It was awesome. He's not scared of anything.
So Victor, you know the next step for you.
Yes, I'm going to be sending out some paperwork. If you would like to, the last 2 folders I've given you, if you have them, just kind of keep them together. Some more stuff to you, as well as speaking to both the donkey rescue and the neighbors.
Exactly.
So I'll be bringing next meeting, if you're on the agenda again, donkey meeting number 4. I will, hey, it's a 12-round fight, I'm ready. I've been training for years. So I'll go next door and I'll bring with me next time, hopefully, letters from neighbors as well as donkey area approvals. And also send the exact drawings by email. So you'll have a full file in front of you for next time.
Can you send pictures of what it looks like to your?
The 2
Right.
donkeys or
No,
the,
yeah,
yes, I just trying to kill you guys with paperwork.
Send us.
I'll send that tonight.
It's on the internet.
Mr. Long, I have a question with
Sir,
regard to the waste. And it's gonna sound bad, but could you contribute that to the fertilizer fund for Greenmount Falls?
boy, could I.
I mean, I don't know how much we spend on fertilizer for our gas, but I did do a little
I like
check.
the way you think. I like the way you think.
You did.
You have to get a compost, you have to get a compost every year before you can use it, so you'd have to have a place where you can compost it.
It's a year and it has to get.
We're gonna have some very, it's gonna be fairly easy to work out some of those things because we have a product that we produce, which is the stillage, which is the spent grain, which is very desired by farmers. So we're gonna have, especially the level of grain we're gonna have is gonna be very desirable. So the ability to do this trading and doing this manure stillage thing that we're farmers is gonna be really cool. I don't have any problem getting rid of waste.
In the interest of the whole green thing you're talking about, can you just send us PDFs and then we can print them out if we want?
Yeah.
So that we don't have huge packets.
That's another reason I didn't print everything out in bulk. Yeah, I'm gonna send pictures and everything, but tonight will be a lot of JPEGs and stuff, and you can do whatever you want to with them.
So, in your distilling process, are you barreling and aging whiskey? How long is that a 2-year process or?
No,
How soon do you start tasting?
There'll be several products. The first product will be what's called Poteen. It's Irish style moonshine, so it's clear, comes right off the still. That's the first product. Then a few months later, the first Irish whiskey's available. Hopefully by summer, we'll see. But there'll be an Irish whiskey that's relatively young, and then as we go forward, there'll be some flavored moonshine as well as bourbons, but the bourbon about 10 years. We'll have a release party about 10 years after grand opening. There'll be a serious release party for the grand. Blackberry bourbon is going to take approximately 10 years. It'll be a world-class product.
Victor, I'm sorry. The only thing I was concerned about was we have a lot. I've grown up around it all my life. I grew up around them. I still have. We have 5 horses. They're all over the place. But have you considered any of the safety conditions that you might have to have? Because there's a lot of people that come up here that just have no concept of how animals will react if they come close to them. I've seen the critter on the planet just go absolutely bananas with a 3-year-old child and damn near take it to death. So I was very curious if you've given any consideration to safety issues.
First of all, run Kentucky style fence, which is pretty significant, tall. It's going to be very difficult to get a hoof in, right? Yeah. So that's number one. But also, since we're doing donkey rescue, they're spending a lot of time. For instance, the donkey rescue we spoke to a few weeks ago has 20 or 30 animals currently. So they have some that are in couples, and they have spent a lot of time with those animals. So they're telling you, these guys are too old to work, these guys are too young, these are a little wild, these are super fun, they sleep in the bed. You know, there's actually donkeys that are in people's houses. Okay? There's some that are that cute. Some of the ones they've got are literally fuzzy-headed, like you shampoo them like they're that cute. So we go through that process. If I had an from the town here in Mount Falls to have donkeys, then I go into the thing of donkeys. Because they're going to be iconic. They're going to be represented by stuffed animals. They're going to be on a sign. They're going to be. So I need to find the ones that are going to be the most beautiful, the most fun, the most docile when it comes to visitors, petting them, reaching over the fence. That's my primary goal, is a fun experience, not a kick. So yeah, can I guarantee that nothing weird would ever happen? No, it's a wild animal, but I can do every single thing in my process that's possible to ensure that we have the most wonderful, loving animals in the world. It's kind of like getting a rescue animal and spending a lot of time, with them to continue to socialize them. Really high level of socialization is my goal with the donkeys. Getting ones that are already like that and then continuing down that road.
Victor, I hope you're not thinking that you have a chance to stable animals on your property.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You told us 3 hours at a time.
I bring them in from
I'm
somewhere
talking
else.
about overnight. Your neighbors probably wouldn't like to hear some braying at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I hope we're past that. When you go to talk to your neighbors, you're going to talk about 3 hours a week. 3
Oh,
hours a day.
well, okay, there's a little bit of confusion, sorry.
Okay.
What I, they're there living, and we work them, we bring them out to work the wheel 3 hours.
Living on your site?
Right.
I
And I'll
I'm
send you
sorry,
the map of
I
all,
can't buy that. I'm sorry.
Do you have like a,
I'll send you the map of it, yeah. I'll
you know,
send
like a barn area or something?
Yeah, it should be awesome, I'll send you a map of it, it's all drawn up.
I'm sorry, but if I had to vote right now, I'd say no.
Well, wait till I see the
No
drawings.
stabling of animals on your property.
Wait till I see the.
It's too small, it's not allowed,
Let's let him take a look.
cruelty to animals,
It won't be, I swear.
and you will not be able to control the odor. I guarantee you right now.
Okay, I understand that is what makes sense right now, but I can guarantee you otherwise.
I thought I talked to you,
I think you may need to be open to looking.
I am open, I don't know, I'm open, but I'm convinced that this can be done for a lot of reasons, primarily because I visited a lot
I
of
mean, I
properties.
think part of it too is that there is a place that's had horses in the past. Is it within a quarter mile? Pretty close.
No.
I'd say it's.
No, that's fine, I don't have a problem with that either. Like I said, I'm open for discussion, however, having spent the last few months on this subject in depth daily, visited a lot of donkeys in a lot of places, I can guarantee that I can do this.
I
So,
can guarantee, Victor, that you cannot control the odor.
Well, what if I had?
If you pasture them 24 hours a day there, you're not gonna control the odor.
How do you
I don't
take
care
care of it?
how often you clean up.
Can we put this on the?
Not with you, I understand what you're saying.
Let's let Victor send us the stuff and then we'll go from there.
I'm trying to help you.
No, I'm with you, I don't mind that, I just need to know the name of that people that had that lot down the road to talk to them.
In my mind,
Do you know what their name is? You had your.
that's the
Oh, there's still the
McGarry's.
McGarry's, my other name?
McGarry's, yes.
I thought it was the
McGyere.
Yeah, I employed both their sons, the friends.
McGarry's have two houses.
Right,
Yeah, one next to the telephone building. And one way down there with a big pasture.
Okay, I'll talk to him tomorrow. I know those guys have employed both their sons, so I'll talk to him tomorrow.
I'm very disappointed. I thought I had you talked into only 9 hours a week. Now you're telling me, no, you wanna go for
If I have to bring
24
them in,
hours
it'll have to be more hours if I have to bring them in. If I have to bring them in, I'll have to do it three times a week, 8-hour shifts, I guess. I have to bring them in, get them set up, and not living there. Possible, I'm not upset, but it's fine.
I tried to help you.
Yeah, I'm wide
But
open.
your idea of 24-hour lodging for animals on your lot is not gonna fit the code. There's no way. I can't see any board giving you a variance.
Well, there's two hurdles, I mean, the planning commission to vote to approve or to recommend or not recommend, and then it goes there.
Trying to give
Trying to figure out a way to
you
approve it.
trying to give you the easiest course for you to
I
get. what you
know,
want.
I understand, I'm just trying to figure out a way to prove it. Because it can be done, I've seen it done.
How about 4 animals? How's, and that way you could bring 2 up to work one day and then rotate the 2 out. Then you still have the available at the McGarry's, people go by with a sign pointing or whatever.
Yeah, the question becomes, see, the disconnect was, you're coming in from Kansas, you've heard about this distillery. In front, there's a beautiful white fence and there are donkeys. The donkeys are on the thicket, that's the vision. So they couldn't be somewhere else because then it wouldn't work.
During the work.
But if they were allowed there during the daytime hours, bring them out, dust, take them back down, whatever, that's fine. Yeah, they were allowed to be there during the day for a period of time, especially on weekends, especially in summer, for instance. People would come and see them, which is sort of the point. But you're right, if I have time somewhere else, I bring them down a few days a week, daytimes, in the morning, take them back at night. Just especially right up the street, that can be done, sure. I'll talk to, but then, here's my question. If we were bringing them down for X hours, but not housing them there, weren't boarded, they weren't stable, they weren't spending the night. They're just coming down to work like an employee. Then is there at that point?
Yes.
Okay, because they're living down there. So what's the variance, what's the procedure then if they're just coming to work?
One variance is easier to sell than the other.
Right.
Coming to work during the daytime hours but not living there is easier to sell due to a variety of issues that you mentioned. Okay, I'll look into that too. So I'll be sending you guys a bunch of drawings and things that are gonna help visualize what's going on. And I'm also going to get multiple pieces of information from neighbors, from the Garys, and from donkey rescues. Donkey rescue thing won't be as big a deal because they're not living there. They're just coming to work, so it's not really that big a deal because they could come to work in this room. So.
I think you probably would be able to defer some of the cost if you had to outside the township. With, you know, your product, because I don't think it would be that expensive to do it. Most of the people around here, it's $100 an hour a month less.
Sure.
All depending on what kind of deal you can make.
Yeah, if you, since you seem to know a lot about that, if you can do me a favor and kind of keep an eye out for me for possible places.
I got your phone.
What I'm trying to avoid is the highway on a trailer. But around the animals, there's a lot of danger for them, a lot of stress.
It's a lot of work to bring them down.
Walking up and down the road half a mile is not a problem.
We can get a special.
Yeah,
I understand.
I'm wide open to that. I'm wide open.
Celebratory parade every morning, every morning in the street.
There you go, 7 o'clock, the donkeys are walking down the road.
I can take the Bronco. I can take the Bronco.
I think I can work on all of that stuff. I totally understand where you're coming from.
Coming through with the.
Two variances, one is easier to sell, got it.
But really, talking to your neighbors, and I'd like to hear from them.
Yeah, we've been chatting about stuff over the last year anyway, on some of the ideas, and they're pretty exciting. So, and I haven't talked to everybody, I'll just talk to everybody.
Yeah.
And see what they think.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Victor, I'll talk to. Sorry.
What's that?
I appreciate your enthusiasm about this, and you are very on fire, about doing this, and I appreciate that.
Well, I see a lot of advantages, a lot of them for the town, for the future. I see a lot of people coming into town and drinking and wherever they do in town, looking at monkeys and hanging out. Not just for the distillery, but for the whole town. I see people reading articles about it in Scotland and France.
Well, Cripple Creek has their donkeys that just run.
We've already been called from Chicago already. We're already in Chicago. Greenmount Falls is already in Chicago.
I mean, that's great.
So it's we've already had 4 or 5 articles already. We're not even getting through the donkey variants, but.
Yeah. So, thank you.
Very much.
And Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have to leave, unfortunately. My 10 minutes is shorter tonight, so I will leave.
I don't know what that is.
That was,
I don't know what that is.
I think 5B and 6A are the same. And I don't know that it was correspondence.
Well, no, because you came up to me at the end of the meeting.
That was for the pantry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because you called it correspondence,
Did I?
but you didn't mention the picture.
Yeah, it really isn't correspondence.
No.
All right, let's
I think
put
we
that
had
on the
that.
agenda.
This one?
Yeah, the planning stuff.
And then, minutes, Dick.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that was,
Wasn't that
at the last
the-
meeting, there was, Mary would have been good for this, not Mary, excuse me, this is Mary. The time to get the minutes put out as even a draft. Is there anything we can do to expedite that?
You want to come help me? It is what it is.
Okay.
I'm doing the very best I can, and,
Do you have an idea of how long it might take to get some of this? You gotta try to find.
buzzing right now.
Pardon?
I'm advertising right now.
Okay.
So, then I gotta do the process. I gotta get board approval. So, I mean,
Two,
I
3
should have,
months.
I wanted it.
I can appreciate that. So it might be 2 to 3 months out.
I'm hoping to get somebody in within the next month and a half,
Okay,
but,
we can work with that.
okay. I mean, I'm doing the best I can, and I
We
can't do
appreciate
it. So I try to get it to you at least by the weekend. So you have to read it, but, and I know that's an issue, and it's like 10 priorities. Planning
Ultimately,
commission minutes are not, they're a priority, but when I look at all my other priorities, they don't rank as high as the other ones, and so I do what I can.
if your employer puts them down there, we have to live with that.
But once I get somebody hired, I'm hoping to get them out to you within a few days.
Okay,
So, that's my goal.
okay. Be good.
Did you talk to my wife a little bit? She did at one time. Margaret was, we were taking calls. She's trustee,
I think I,
Margaret.
yeah, I know what she knows.
Okay.
I would have a conversation, and I don't think she wants to do minutes, but maybe.
Well, she might be able to give you a chance. I could kind of push her.
Are you signing her up?
Yeah.
You signing her up?
I don't know.
Just out of curiosity, the position that you're looking to fill, is that part-time, full-time?
Part-time, flexible hours.
Just until.
Is that like 20, 30 hours a week?
Trying to keep it right around 24 hours.
24?
Mr. Chairman, I have 2 minutes before I have to go to.
Right. Let's go to 6A, entry gardens.
Yes.
I was approached by the schools guy about, I think it was before Christmas. It was maybe, yeah, before Christmas. And he mentioned the fact that his neighbor had a grill against his building. And, so I took the approach that it's a civil matter and you should talk to your neighbor. But then it came to me that we, as the planning commission, approved the business to be back there, and we didn't recognize the fact that there could be some damage, that we were encroaching on the neighbor. There was no, I don't think there was a letter that went out to Stones and Bones saying that his building was going to be damaged. If you look at the building itself, you see where the soot and the char is on his building. So I'm wondering if we, as the planning commission, have a responsibility to either offer a letter or offer a suggestion to the pantry gardens to make alternative use of that grill, move that grill somewhere else, or build a wall, or do something so it's not on the neighbor's building.
But can you, it sounds like you have unearthed a concern for a fire hazard.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
what you're talking about?
Yeah. Well,
We have a-
no, actually, it's not necessarily a fire hazard, it's a disfigurement, because it might not be on fire, it's just turning black, so I don't know if that's a fire hazard or not. But, Stones and Bones has asked the fire department to come in and look, but every time the fire department comes, we're allowed. And then as soon as the fire department gets there, he moves it back in there. So, it's quite apparent. I mean, it's visible that there's something going on there. And the fire department has not made that, I don't think they've recognized that.
What do you remember what was approved? Was it the activity or was it the use of a barbecue in that location?
It was the whole district.
So
Your decision in with land use.
Yeah, it was the use of that,
Yeah, so the planning commission board of trustees approved the use of that area for
Yes.
patio,
Yes.
restaurant,
yes,
feeding,
yes.
and not explicitly the location
No,
where you
that's
put
correct.
that grill.
No.
That's absolutely correct.
No, if you tell me today that we, the planning commission, liability or I guess ownership to correct that, I'm okay with that. But I think he's a business owner,
Yeah.
and we've done something, the planning commission has approved something that maybe should have been addressed at that time.
Well,
Seems like
I don't see, I don't see that. This question, is the pantry using the back approved to what was approved?
No,
No,
they got specific approval to open a restaurant in their backyard.
Okay,
That's all
that's right,
been decided years
that's
ago.
right.
then if
That's not the question. The question is not land use. The question is creation of a wall.
Yeah.
To me, that's a civil matter. His neighbor, Ben, had some damage. Now, he can go to civil court and sue Ben, but the town should not be involved.
Okay.
Or, really, I don't see,
Based on what I've heard, I concur with Dick on that,
I don't think you can find a land use regulation that addresses this particular specific problem.
So why can't he just go ask his neighbor to move it and say, hey, can you move this and then paint my wall for me? Wouldn't that just be the simple, easy solution?
If you were a good neighbor, yes.
So if a girl was on the, so he says, hey, give me my grill, and then just paint my wall for me because it's, and then that's the end of it. Wouldn't that be super easy?
If it was that,
There's probably several mechanisms to remedy the situation and keep it from.
Yeah, there's. you
Right,
can build a
but it seems
fireproof
like it would
wall,
be-
You can move the grill, there are lots of ways to remedy the problem. But Mr. Stevens is not willing to do anything.
Right.
And the only way to get him to move is for, in my opinion, is for his neighbor to sue him in civil court and get a judgment. But we're not that civil court.
no,
Agreed.
no. But I just wanted to make sure that,
Yeah.
that we had no responsibility to that business.
I know of none. I can't find a planning, land use regulation that deals with it.
Can we revoke the approval we made?
On what grounds?
Because he's damaging the
And it's a
neighbors.
civil matter.
Again, it's not contrary to what was approved. We
Right.
approved, he's not doing anything different than what was approved.
I think it's kind of like if someone puts their fence, if we approve their fence on their property and then they go put it on their neighbor's, it's a civil matter. It's not something we say,
But we approved it, so.
we
Well, we
approve
approved
what
it.
is on that, what being on their land, not being on.
What's that?
It was approved as presented.
Right,
Yeah, that's
So
correct.
they approved it to be inside the property line, but when it got down to it, they put it outside the property line.
I think it's the same kind of thing as that, where we say, we don't,
but is it the same thing as the fence that we are having an issue with as being obstruction? We made that approval, and we didn't realize that fence was too high, you can't see, so
Yeah, it's a
we're responsible.
blocking the vision.
Yes, we deal with fences.
Yeah.
This is not a fence.
Right,
But
it is-
he's trying to draw a correlation to something that the planning commission
Sorry,
approved.
that's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
This body deals with land use.
Every meeting anyway. You want me to talk to them? I'm good friends with both guys, like really good friends with both guys. You want me to talk to them? I can make a report next meeting.
Don't do it.
I mean, I'm gonna hear us every meeting anyway.
Or don't.
I mean, don't just get planning commission.
I mean, I'm not good friends with
As a
them.
friend, Victor, don't get between those two guys.
And I have faith. I'm just saying.
This is been going on for 14 years now. We've been at each other's throats for 14 years.
Okay.
Don't put your head.
I was offering to help, I know both guys. Okay.
But thanks for offering, but I'd hate to see you get your nose
Can I
bloody.
sneak in the middle of the night and make you walk?
If that fixes it, I don't know if that'll fix it.
I just did.
So Dominic, you've got a big heart. You're trying to help out Mr. Nord.
Yeah, but it's not, it's more than that, it's, I recall, I was on the planning commission when we approved that.
Right.
And that was never a concern,
That's correct.
because there was no grill there, to visualize.
That's correct.
That was going to be damaged there. So, I just wanna know how far, what is our responsibility after we approve something?
The pantry has the ability to relocate that
Yes.
grill. They can pull it out with a fire marshal gets there, and
Yeah.
they can push it back, so. It is mobile,
Yeah.
and there's,
We can't direct.
yeah.
Can we write a letter that
The
says?
fire department can do something.
Okay.
If they fail to do so, but that's their job. We're land management.
Okay.
Fire department is fire hazards. So if Ken is smart, he'll get the fire department to write him up.
Yeah.
And then he'll take it to his lawyer.
Yeah.
Sue Ben until he moves the girl. That's.
Yeah.
The way it should be.
Lawyer expensive.
Yeah.
It's, once you get a lawyer involved, now you're talking, quite a bit of money. As a business, I don't think you can, maybe doesn't have that.
We listen to good problems.
Yeah.
We used to listen to arguments between neighbors on Belvedere that argued about where the fence was.
Yeah.
You built it on my land. I said, sorry. You showed us a drawing. You put it where the drawing said. You have to bear the responsibility. You're facing your neighbor, but not us.
Wasn't trading one of the worst ones you had?
We call them lot wars. People said, this is my line here. Oh, no, it's over here. I know. See that pin there? How do we know the pin's in the right place? Position to judge that. That's why our site visits where we eyeball, they've been challenged by our town attorney.
I've got 4 different surveys.
Right,
Each property.
You go off a plan, the plan says that the property owner will put the fence on the property.
So, anyway,
All right, we good?
Yeah.
Anything else?
it's been fun, guys.
Great.
All right, well,
Thanks for coming in, Victor.
7:52.
Thank you, no, I'm excited.
Okay.
On the variance, I would pursue the physical hardship of using